Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly Q&A thing. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you're on YouTube right now, what are people watching? What team are they looking at?
All right, so continuing this season's sort of, not tradition, what's our modus operandi of previewing who we think is going to be the character coming up in the challenge on Thursday. Mm-hmm. We've got Darkseid Prime.
Yeah.
And Darkseid Prime is a little bit interesting. So he's got all right, so let me just read his passive. Empower minions. All bronze characters on Darkseid's team gain plus 300% health and damage. Mm-hmm. So what you do is, I think when you gain plus 300% means that you're getting 4 times what their health and damage are. And it's interesting. It's interesting because it does a couple things. It's really great because it makes bronze characters relevant. And it really kind of sucks because one obvious way. Darkseid, his stats are too high if you've maxed him out. And when you match him with bronze characters on his team, even though his passive will boost them, it doesn't boost them enough that they are comparable to him. Mm-hmm. So he still outclasses them. He does more damage. He has more health. And it feels like it's a wasted opportunity to have Darkseid as a really good support character when, in fact, because of his stats, he almost has to be the main character because the opponents that you face are going to be very high stat.
Yeah, hard to beat with the bronze characters.
Right. The second more hidden thing, and I guess we're going to get into this way more on the recap day, but what I'm afraid of is because of what's happening with our schedule, our schedule's messed up. We're still going to try to do the recap this Thursday.
It might not happen.
But it might not be, and it might not be as timely as we normally would like to do it because it's going to be the first week of the month where we're doing more detailed recap.
Yeah.
The hidden part is, so think about it. If their stats, they're effectively getting 4 times the health and 4 times the damage. You know what that means for gears that will boost health or damage? They will boost the original base stat. Mm-hmm. They will not be boosting their boosted stat. Mm-hmm. So if you're using either one of them and hoping to get more out of their health or their attack stat in any way, you're going to be boosting, you're going to get, all right, so if it's 4 times the health and 4 times the attack, you're going to get 1/4 of the benefit that the gear is supposed to give you. Mm-hmm. That kind of sucks.
It does.
So it makes them, so even though Darkseid has this great support character passive, mm-hmm. and he makes the characters around him, the bronze characters around him better, the bronze characters are limited away that make them not so good as the main characters. Mm-hmm. All right, so what we're doing is this. Instead of, because it would be a shame to demonstrate him the way we usually do with characters by having him with Rebirth Raven and Hawkgirl. Mm-hmm. Because it means that he's not getting, he's not going to be getting any benefit from his passive at all. And when because his special 2 is so messed up, so that his special 2 does burn damage. Mm-hmm. So it's reduced damage. It's 3 hits. And if it's blocked, the 3rd hit disappears. The 3rd hit is where the burn damage happens. So this is the wild thing. If you do a special 2, which is normally the way we maximize the damage output of a character, special 2. Yeah. If the opponent blocks, not only do you do less damage because you don't get the 3rd hit, which does way more damage than the 2nd hit, mm-hmm. you lose the damage over time, which is causing the special 2 overall to be reduced damage. Mm-hmm. He is incredibly ineffective.
Yeah. Goes from powerful to very weak.
Yeah, and not even that powerful. Like, because his special 2's already reduced damage.
Okay to very weak.
Yeah. I would even, I'll go on a limb here saying, not so great, mm-hmm. to even less.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's fun. We've talked before about the potential of where that passive could lead instead. If he wasn't boosting bronze characters, he boosted silver characters, then you could have silver characters that were maybe comparable to a gold. Mm-hmm. I mean, these bronze characters are comparable in their base stats to gold. Maybe like a Elite 1.
Yeah.
At the most, or Elite 0. Maybe Elite 2 for the really weak ones. Mm-hmm. But then if you can't get the full benefit of gear effects that will enhance damage, mm-hmm. where does that leave you? I think it means that... So we've got Nightwing and Flash, who are, in my mind, my two favorite bronzes. I mean, when we were doing Survivor and getting through the first few fights, they were really good because Nightwing has the power drain on Special 1. Flash just has the usual super fast basics. He speeds up a little bit when he does a Special 1.
Yeah.
And he's got good synergy with his gear. So the signature gears for both Flash and Nightwing are really good on them and have the character-specific abilities that I like to play with because they're offensive. Yeah.
So there we go. And sometimes we talk about what we've been sort of reading, watching, what media we've been going through. So I want to talk briefly about a show that I've been watching that I just got caught up with recently that is a lot of fun. Have you heard of the Apothecary Diaries or no?
Only from you. I haven't heard enough to know about the show, but I've heard bits.
It's pretty popular. I'm watching it with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who's much more into anime than I am. And by much more into, I mostly just mean that she actually like knows what's good, right? And a lot of my friends also watch, a different extents of anime.
Right.
And I'm much more of like a sort of like prestige dramedy kind of like The Bear, HBO kind of watcher. It's just different stuff. I like dark comedy, whatever, live action stuff. And so like I'm plugged into that space, so I know what's good and what's worth watching and so whatever.
I will need to ask your girlfriend about Mob Psycho 100 after this.
Oh, I'm actually watching Mob Psycho right now.
Are you?
Another friend, yeah.
Okay. We'll have to have a conversation maybe after
yeah, so
this.
Apothecary Diaries is just very silly. What it is it's a kind of like a Sherlock Holmes like archetype of show where the pitch is just that there's this girl and what if there was a girl who lived in I believe it's ancient Japan, but I forget. I'm actually not 100% sure if it's Japan or China.
Okay.
It might be an anime that's set in China. I don't remember the sort of cultural.
So it might be Japanese but
me.
Set in China.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what if the pitch was what if she just kind of knew everything?
When you say knew everything, like
she's exceptionally well informed.
Oh, a huge knowledge base. Okay.
And so it'll be for like very arbitrary reasons. So the sort of premise of the show is that she gets kidnapped and sold off to the rear palace, and the idea is that the people who kidnap her like pretend to be her family, and so she like some of the money that she's earning is getting sent back to them basically.
Okay.
So she grows up in a like brothel, being like the apothecary for a brothel. So the
apothecary,
she makes,
in my mind, is like a pharmacist.
Tinctures and ointments. Yeah, she's basically a pharmacist.
Okay.
So her dad is a disgraced doctor. She's a pharmacist.
Her fake dad.
Her adoptive father, yeah.
Right.
And so she grows up making tinctures. And so basically the thing is that her only like love and obsession in life is poison. And she loves poison and noxious chemicals and all sorts of stuff, and she knows everything about it. So she's got all sorts of like burns and marks on her arms or whatever, because every time there's a substance that she wants to figure out what it does, she like rubs it on herself and like figures it out. So she's just this really like extremely competent, extremely strange person and it's just what if she knows everything. And it's to the point where sometimes it's exceptionally arbitrary and weird, and she'll go, oh yeah, one of the courtesans at the brothel like had to deal with this at one point, and that's why she knows about it. But it is, what I would say is it's like a moderately convincing portrayal. If you're willing to suspend your disbelief that this random person would know like everything, anytime anything ever comes up, she has the knowledge to address it and figure it out.
Right.
There's enough stuff going on there where there will be moments where I will be able to predict what's happening because I know what's going on. Right. And there's just enough details that are being put in that you go, oh, that makes sense. Where if you like, one of the binds that she gets herself out of is like making ice cream, right? So
wait, ice cream is a solution, or ice cream is a problem?
Solution to the bind, where she needs to do something, and this is like, I guess, like a mild spoiler, but whatever, right? And so she, but she does it right. Like they have her like put the salt into the ice and everything, right? So like the stuff where you go, oh, she's doing this because she knows, right? So it's believable if you suspend your disbelief that she would know everything all the time. Right. For the stuff that I know about in advance, I'm like, okay, she's doing this in a way that is believably like well informed and not just somebody randomly knowing stuff and actually not being that well informed.
Okay.
So it's like,
she's not faking it as a character.
yeah, she's not faking it as a character. And so it's fun, it's ridiculous. They've got like a little musical sting that happens every time she's about to explain to you why she's really smart and knowledgeable.
Okay. The stuff you're saying reminds me, the little musical, Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
It's
like a musical sting,
like
not like songs.
Oh,
like there's
okay.
like the right, like it's a little like
because it's reminding me of so many
song.
things. Like I remember the show Chuck.
Yeah, I do.
Where he knew so many things because of the computer that got imprinted on his brain or whatever. Okay, sorry.
And from the thing that I think the least about it, really, especially in the early episodes, is that it is very like episodic and self-contained in nature. So like every time anything happens, you go, oh, this is about to be relevant later in the episode. This is going to come back. There's like a moment and it's you're almost like, oh, well, 5 minutes from now, this is about to be relevant.
Okay, it's like Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
Where you introduce stuff. Like there's not enough time, I guess, in an episode to introduce enough red herrings.
Yeah.
Anything that's significant, every gun on the mantelpiece is going to be fired later.
But they do a better job later. Yeah, like whenever there's ever like an overarching thing in like a bank of 3 episodes, it's like something happens, and then they go, wow, I wonder what that's about. And then like that it's an unresolved plot thread, and then there's very little time for it to breathe. Where it would almost be better if they just had spaced stuff out like 2 episodes in advance. You have like a scene that seems to be unrelated to anything else except for the fact that 100% for sure that it's going to come up again later in the episode. Right. And then I think they resolve some of that later. And the other thing is that I think there's a weird balance where there's some stuff where they'll go through it fast and I feel like I won't really understand exactly what's going on. And then there's some stuff where they will like explain it to you. And then when like the reveal happens, you already know it, and then they explain it to you again. So it's not perfect in terms of how it's paced or whatever else, right? Right. But I will say that it is consistently pretty fun. It's got a little bit of...
Okay, that matters, right? Like, we can talk... Sometimes when I see reviews where they break down the technical aspects of it, it's interesting to me, but I feel like sometimes it misses the point if they don't at least address, like, how much joy do you get out of watching this?
I think it's watchable, it's enjoyable. Sometimes you will be ahead of a reveal and you'll be like, I think I got this, and then sometimes it will be something so out of left field that you go, theoretically this is consistent with all the information that was given, but I cannot imagine how you would expect anybody to like predict this ahead of time. But it's it's fun, it's a little silly, there's a little bit of sort of like romantic tension, will they, won't they? There's a little bit of somebody being weird, and she is believably sharp, and she is like in a very like endearing way, believably like a freak, right? Where she's like, oh, I love poison. Like if she's like, my favorite thing is like taste a new poison, or like to like rub this like noxious like material on my skin to see how it's gonna make it like bubble up and whatever.
So as ridiculous as that sounds, you know what else that makes me think of? I mean, it's making so many connections in my head right now. So how much do you know about stomach ulcers?
Not that much.
Okay. So for the longest time, for decades, people would get ulcers. They would perforate, they would bleed, they would have all these complications. Because ulcers are basically like a damage to the lining of your stomach. And your stomach's full of acid, right?
Oh yeah, wasn't there like a thing where somebody figured out like the source of it?
Okay,
like with almost complete certainty. Okay,
yeah, okay, so it's no spoiler. So the thinking used to be it's caused by stress, mental stress. It's caused by certain medications like aspirin, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and smoking. And while the smoking and the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories have sort of borne themselves out, they used to prescribe like no stress and rest and stuff. Yeah. And ultimately, aside from those that are caused by non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, most ulcers are ultimately caused by a bacteria that survives in the cells in the stomach. So it protects itself from the acid. It's one of the few bacteria that can survive the acid of your stomach. Yeah. And the
guy gave himself ulcers, right?
The guy, so this one guy came up with the idea that this bacteria was causing ulcers. Yeah. Nobody believed him. This was, I want to say something ridiculously early, like the 70s or maybe even earlier, 60s. And he published a paper. Nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. So the way he finally convinced people was he gave himself this bacteria. He swallowed it, gave himself ulcers to prove that this was it. And the basis for most ulcer treatment now is antibiotics and antacids to kill this bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see, the first thing I thought of when you talk
like
about
the guy who like cracked his knuckles only on one hand
Oh,
for like,
yeah.
decades to like show that there was no link between like cracking your knuckles and arthritis.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's wild to me. So as soon as you mentioned the apothecary who had all the burn marks, the chemical and physical burn marks on her arms, it made me think of exactly that. Like, it seems like a ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
We have an established history in real life of people doing exactly that same thing for different reasons.
Yeah, so I would say just it's fun. It's very watchable. I think I think even if you don't necessarily like exactly like what it ends up being, I think it's very watchable. It does feel very sort of slice of lifey for the most part, where it's just somebody sort of trying to get by, and there's something that is a little bit entertaining, I think, about the demeanor of the main character, where she is mostly very nonchalant about just getting into these like sort of weird situations. She's bouncing around, whatever. Right. And what I like about it is that they have her do that sort of like overexcited version of herself, where she's normally very nonchalant. She gets very excited at sort of, and it's played like comedically, right? Because she's excited about ridiculous stuff. Like somebody will give her like an herb that she can no longer like not otherwise like access. So you know, she's like, she gets kidnapped. She's like, I'm kind of in like an indentured servant now, but life's worth living. And then she gets like, a cool leaf. She's like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I would say that like they handle it in a way that is like, it's fun enough that stuff to me, when it is bad, is like, I don't buy it. I don't think this feels earned. It makes me not cringe exactly, but like it's a cringe adjacent feeling where it just falls flat and it sort of, you can lose me fast.
Sure.
And the show doesn't lose me ever, which is, I think, what is required for me to
That's
really
pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
I mean, these
or very rarely loses me like that. I mean,
that all falls under the same category that people use as excuse when they complain about a show that it's not accurate, that it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, those are things that pull them out. But the flip side is that when there's something you enjoy, gives you enough reason to enjoy it, your mind can create enough reasons to explain what's happening to excuse those kinds of moments that would otherwise pull you out. Because overall, it's just that much fun. Yeah, it's fun. It kept me watching. It was one of the main shows that we were watching together for quite a while. And there was no point where I was like, I really don't, it never felt like a slog or like not worth seeing what was going to come next. Just a fun show. So it's massively popular. Mob Psycho is also a fun show. I'm going through that a little slower because it's 3 people watching instead of 2, so there's less opportunities for it. But I like Mob Psycho. Right. It's even sillier than Apothecary Diaries, but it's very much like, the power of friendship kind of whatever slice of life. So is it something new or is it something old? It's pretty old. Okay. I say pretty old. It's like not new in a way that would be particularly relevant. It's I think like 2016 or something. Okay, because I've had it recommended to me sort of out of the blue, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's like, I have no basis for understanding. I'm thinking, do I read the manga first? Is there like something? Where is it? I don't know enough. It's definitely on Crunchyroll. Oh, Crunchyroll. But I have Crunchyroll, so you have Crunchyroll. Oh, okay, if you want to. But Mob Psycho, the pitch is that it's a young kid who has telekinetic powers. He's a psychic, basically, or he's like telekinetic. Not just telekinetic. He's ESP. He has extrasensory perception. Like he is like, he's like a mental magic guy, right? So he's a telepath too. Like there's different elements of mental powers, right? Like Professor Xavier is a telepath. He's also has telekinesis. He can't read minds. He has he gets like special powers, basically. He has like mental powers. Mental powers, okay. So for some people in the world, it like is just like they're super strong. Like everybody has like different power. It's basically you have a superpower and it's just like a capacity that you have. And it's phrased as like you're like an Esper. Okay. All right. And so he has the pitches. He basically has the best of these powers. He's like the strongest guy ever, right? Basically. Okay. All right. Except there was this girl that he had a crush on who, it's kind of like when somebody's like a juggler where like you see them juggle for 30 seconds and you go, okay, can you add another ball? No, I've lost interest. Where she didn't think it was cool at all. And so really early on, he got really discouraged where he goes, I have this thing. It's just a character trait I have, but nobody really cares about it. So it's boring and I'm like a boring guy. And so like he doesn't ever use it because he's like, he doesn't think it's interesting, right? He doesn't have any, he's not getting enough feedback to make him want to use
Well,
it.
it doesn't help make him popular at school or popular with a girl that he likes. So he's not getting positive feedback. So he goes, oh man, all I have is these crummy powers. My younger brother is like really good at like sports, right?
Right.
So and then the 100 comes in where every time anything happens to him that is like bad, they'll flash like a number on the screen, and so he will never use his psychic powers to his own benefit. But if he gets really like freaked out or overwhelmed or whatever, when he hits 100, he sort of hits his breaking point, and then his powers come out,
like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. So he's this young, awkward, Incredible Hulk, basically. Where,
but instead of turning green, he gets really powerfully psychic.
He becomes infinitely powerful, essentially, for the purposes of the show. I mean, there's some amount of stakes when he's like having like fights with people, right? But basically it's a thing where somebody's beating, like, messing around with him, and he's like, I'm just like a little guy, like, he's like, this isn't very nice, like, why are you doing this to me? And then they're like, punching him in the head like 50 times, and he goes, ow, 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 stop doing that. And then he's eventually getting more upset, and then like he hits 100, and then like he like explodes the universe, like, not like literally, right? Like, I'm trying to not like spoil anything,
right?
Because
I think I might watch it. But it sounds like I might want to watch this,
and it's fun, and like, everything, like the names of all the stuff in his town is like named based off of food. Like he goes to like Salt Middle School, and it's funny, it's weird, it's offbeat, it's very heartfelt, it is very slice of life, and it is like, what if there was like the most powerful guy you knew never used his powers because he was like, well, I'm not allowed to use these against any other people, and also they're boring anyways, you probably wouldn't even want to see them, so who cares, right?
Oh, so when we see that, in my mind, it feels like it's an echo of something, but I can't put my finger on like another sort of famous story where it's somebody who's really super powerful who just doesn't want to use their power at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure there's examples of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's fun. And then the other thing too is that his like sensei, or like his like mentor, that's the better word. His mentor, he calls him master, right?
Okay.
And his mentor is a guy who runs like a fake psychic business, and he's a fraud.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so he's a total fraud, and so whenever there's anything that actually needs to be done, he has to call in this like middle schooler, right? And he's like, okay, well, you'll have to do it like after school. So he'll call him, and he goes, oh, there's a job, and he goes, it's I want to give you practice, right? I want to give you practice using your powers to help people, so you can come in and help me, whatever. And he has absolutely no psychic powers whatsoever. Right. So he is like,
he's got no expertise to offer, or to really be a good guide, like a knowledgeable guide. He's just taking advantage of him. It sounds like
it's like a mix, but the thing is, you kind of just have to watch this out, because he's a little bit taking advantage of him, but he is also like trying to guide him. So he has no like real psychic powers, but he is attempting to offer moral guidance, right? Like he's the guy who's like, you should never use this to like harm other people. Like he's trying to help him be a good guy, but he is also kind of taking advantage of him to use him to run his business. So it's like there's like a little bit of nuance there, right? So he's like kind of a loser, but also kind of like helpful in his like moral development. So there's nuance there. Like nobody is just kind of just like, he's not just like a villain sort of figure.
So you finished watching it, or you in the middle of it?
I watched, I think, 2 seasons out of 3 seasons of it.
All right.
Yeah. So it's another show where it is just, it's funny and it's very watchable. It's a really enjoyable experience, and it's what I like about a lot of the anime that I've been watching is that they're very different from anything that I've seen for the type of shows that I like. Mm-hmm. Where, when I think about Severance, Succession, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Bear, all of these shows that I like, the types of stuff that I like, right? They all do stuff very different from each other, but they
are of a thing though. Like the way when you say all those
they're of a kind, where there's a real sort of jump in genre, there's a different cultural sensibility, there's a lot of different stuff all at once. And not to say that like Apothecary Diaries and Mob Psycho 100 feel like they have much in common at all, right? They're very, very different things, but there is some sort of connective tissue in terms of like the language and grammar and norms of like animation and anime, right? And so it's been kind of cool diving into that a little bit. And there's a lot of good stuff there, right? It's just something that I haven't known what's good. And at any point in my life, I think I could have just asked any one of the many friends I have, like, what's good in anime.
And they would have told you.
And they would have told me, and I could have watched it. But I just had enough stuff to watch, enough things to do. But now that I have, when you have a partner, right, it's a little different because you can watch it with them. And then
it's a shared experience.
It's a shared experience. And you got to fill the time somehow, right? It's something to do. That
don't I wish I had more time,
but you know what I mean, right?
I know what you're saying.
It's different where it's like she gets to show me all the shows that she really likes, I get to show her all the stuff that I really like, right? And then you have a good excuse to watch something that you really liked for a second time, right? Which I know different people have different feelings about, but I really like a rewatch with somebody else who's watching something for the first time if I really like something. I like recommending stuff to people because
if there's enough depth, you can enjoy it in and of itself for the rewatch. And separate from that, you get to see somebody that you find interesting, watch it for the first time too, and see how it lands with them too. And then it can be the beginning of an interesting conversation about the ideas. Like it's a takeoff. In very many ways, it's like the way we use people's questions and comments as a takeoff point for a discussion.
Yeah, so I would watch some Mob Psycho 100 with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Now it's a matter of finding the time.
Yeah.
It's yeah. All right. So now I'm seriously intrigued. Okay. Very good. That's very good. All right. So what? One thing I wanted. I know we were going to try to cut short this time, but the one thing that reminded me.
Yeah, we might not even get to any questions.
Yeah. So when you talked about how watching anime is so different from the shows that you normally watch, I had that moment with manga back in the I want to say late '80s, maybe early '90s. So back then, the comic industry there wasn't very much manga in North America. If any. I mean, Akira might have been the first one. And it got a pretty big release from Marvel, but it wasn't, there wasn't really, I guess, an industry so much in North America as it was specific exceptions. And Eclipse Comics tried to change that by partnering with Viz Media and brought a number of manga titles. And right before they did that, Lone Wolf and Cub came out, so that was sort of a big deal. But then most comics publishers would have the one thing. Eclipse was the first one that tried to bring a whole line. And so to me, when I first started reading it, it was Mai the Psychic Girl, Kamui the ninja, and Area 88, which was the fighter pilot. And it was like there's a whole different sensibility, both in the art and the storytelling. And I think the storytelling went a little bit over my head, but gosh, the art was, for Mai the Psychic Girl especially, spectacular. It was like, it really did. It was like opening a whole... not so much a world, but you're in a building. You've never been in this hallway. Whenever you open it, and all of a sudden there's all this new stuff.
It's cool. Yeah, no, I think one of the things that was interesting that I've had explained to me, I've looked into a little bit some of the stuff of why some of these things feel so different. And one of the things is that in Japanese media, the vast majority of stuff is manga first, and the anime gets picked up from that.
Right.
And so some of the tropes and the norms and the stuff that happens in anime is very much based off of the fact that there's sort of a primary market and proving ground first. And so there are patterns in what becomes popular in manga. For example, it needs to be flashy. It needs to draw you in really fast. It needs to have a weird enough premise that people want to hear, see more. And so one of the things with the weird premises of a lot of anime, or the sort of more off-kilter opening moments, is because it is sort of the open market of, if you are not a really established creator that people are going to go for, you want to see issue number 1 in a collection or a magazine or something. You go, I really want to see the next one. You want it, it needs to really grab your attention fast, and it needs to get you in the door really quickly. So there's also a lot of reliance on tropes where by the end of the first, issue.
Oh, so you know what to expect.
You'll know what it's going to be. Here's what's weird about the story. Here's what to expect about the story. If you want, a romance with X, Y, and Z characteristics that has this character in this setting, is that something you want more of? And you want people to know by the end of the first thing, this is something that I want more of. I want an episode 2, right? And so that's why you get these really sort of wacky, weird, bombastic, throw you into it fast kind of stuff. And so learning more about, and also where the money comes from. is the money still primarily comes from the manga more than the anime, where they're sort of they feed off of each other. Right. But if you look at what makes the most money, it's still the revenue comes more from the books, so it's very different from North America.
Oh, North America is the exact opposite.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that they're sort of, I think, a symbiotic relationship, but you are not prioritizing the anime over the books,
right?
Which is massively different from how it would work here. If anything is getting picked up for, you know, a media outside of literature, that genre is going to, or that medium is going to be way more popular. So it's a very different dynamic. And, you know, even before you get to the cultural stuff, the market forces change how the media shapes itself. So it's just, it's cool. It's all really cool. It's cool and interesting. And I like learning about stuff. And it helps that a lot of the stuff that I'm watching is fun and worthwhile. Like, it's worth my time even if I wasn't doing any of the learning. But it all makes it more interesting, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, no questions this week. It's not a Q&A. Maybe we take the Q off of the video title or something. Or not.
Yeah.
Okay. To finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to our patrons on Patreon. That is Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Miguel, who are supporting us on the credited level. We'd also like to thank all of you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.